Very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television this Monday morning. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are this morning's headlines. Previous governments neglected farmers of the country, says Prime Minister Modi. Inaugurating the Bansagar Canal project in Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh, says delays in development projects have cost the exchequer dearly. Vice President asks all state governments to make a respective mother tongues compulsory subject in schools, calls for reservation of languages to conserve broader cultural aspects of civilization. Opposition parties led by the Congress are to meet today to formulate strategy ahead of monsoon session beginning Wednesday. Joint opposition candidate for the post of Deputy Chairman Rajya Sabha to be among main agenda of the meet. US President Donald Trump in Helsinki, Finland for his first summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin calls Russia, EU and China foes of the United States ahead of the summit. Targets media for criticizing his Russia policy. And while celebrations as France beat Croatia 4-2 in an entertaining FIFA Cup final in Russia, Croatian captain Luka Modric wins Golden Ball award for Best Player. England captain Harry Kane gets the Golden Boot. At Wimbledon, Novak Djokovic beats Kevin Anderson to bag fourth men's singles title. Our top story this morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a farmers' rally in Midnapur in West Bengal today. The focus of the rally will be the centre's recent decision to increase the MSP of Kharif crops. The Prime Minister rally comes just a fortnight after BJP President Amit Shah's public rally in Purulia. The West Bengal State BJP President said that the Prime Minister's rally proves that West Bengal is one of the party's priority states. After the recent Panchayat polls and by-polls, the BJP has emerged as the main contender for the TMC in the state. And earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a scathing attack on previous governments led by opposition parties in Uttar Pradesh, accusing them of neglecting people and not completing development projects on time. Addressing a public meeting after inaugurating the Bansagar Canal project and laying the foundation of Mirzapur Medical College, the Prime Minister said that it is the same parties who are now shedding crocodile tears for farmers. He said it is this neglect that the canal project that would have costed 3,000 crore rupees has now been completed at a cost of 3,500 crores. The Prime Minister also appealed to the farmers benefiting them from the canal projects to save water by opting for drip irrigation methods. The Prime Minister also cited the recent government decision to increase MSP for Kharif crops, saying that well-being of farmers remains the top priority. Earlier on Saturday, the Prime Minister also laid the foundation stone of the 340-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway in Azamgarh.
लगभग 300 करोड़ के बजट से शुरू ये परियोजना अगर उस समय हो जाती 300 करोड़ में हो जाती, लेकिन न होने के कारण समय बीतता गया, दाम बढ़ते गए। 300 करोड़ की योजना 3,500 करोड़ लगाने के बाद पूरी हो पाई है। आप मुझे बताइए, ये पुरानी सरकारों का गुनाह है कि नहीं है? जिन किसानों के खेत में ये पानी पहुंच रहा है, जिनके निकट में ये नहर लगी है, क्या मेरे किसान भाई बहन टपक सिंचाई या स्प्रिंकलर फवारे वाली सिंचाई और बूंद बूंद पानी बचाने की दिशा में काम कर सकते हैं क्या? मैं आपसे यही मांग रहा हूं, मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए और आप मुझे वादा कीजिए कि ये जो पानी है ये हमारे लिए मां विंध्यवासिनी का प्रसाद है। अभी एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय रिपोर्ट आई है और उस रिपोर्ट का कहना है अगर ऐसी रिपोर्ट नेगेटिव होती तो हफ्ते भर हमारे यहां हो हल्ला चलता रहता, लेकिन पॉजिटिव है तो आती है चली जाती है, कोई नोटिस भी नहीं करता है। साथियों, गरीब को दवाई, किसान को सिंचाई, बच्चों को पढ़ाई और युवाओं को कमाई जहां सुनिश्चित होगी, जहां सुविधाएं अपार होगी और व्यवस्था ईमानदार होगी, ऐसे न्यू इंडिया के संकल्प को सिद्ध करने में हम जुटे हैं।
On to some other news now. President Ramnath Kovind has expressed confidence that members of parliament and legislators will carry forward public-related work through debate and dialogue during the upcoming monsoon session of parliament and state assemblies. Addressing a gathering in Fatehabad in Haryana, he lauded both the executive and the legislature for actively bridging the gap of social inequalities in the society by implementing schemes for the welfare of the poor and weaker sections of the society. And in related news, opposition parties will meet today to formulate a joint strategy during the monsoon session of Parliament starting 18th of July. Now, topmost on the agenda will be to finalize a joint candidate for the Rajya Sabha deputy chairperson's post, which fell vacant after the end of the term of PJ Kurian from the Congress on 1st of July. The meeting will be held today evening in the office of the Leader of the Opposition, Ghulam Nabi Azad, in Parliament House. And the names of the candidates for the post of Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha have not been formally discussed, and it will be the first time that the issue will be taken up during the meeting. Now, among the many other issues that a joint opposition strategy will be devised are bank frauds, farmers' grievances, women's safety, lynching and threats to national security. On to some other news. Vice President President Naidu has said that language embodies culture, values, morals and traditional knowledge. Stressing on the importance of language, he said that one can learn as many languages as one can, but never neglect their mother tongue. Emphasizing on the preservation of language to conserve the broader cultural aspects of a civilization, he said that all state governments must take up their respective mother tongues as a compulsory subject to teach in schools. He said this while addressing the Founders' Day celebration of Andhra Education Society in New Delhi. And hailing the achievements of Dr. Durga Bhai Deshmukh, whose birth anniversary is celebrated as the Founders' Day of Andhra Education Society, he hailed her contribution in pioneering women education. Let's get you some other news. NITI Ayog is working on a proposal to replace LPG subsidy with cooking subsidy. Now, this is to extend the benefits of people using piped natural gas and biofuels for cooking purposes. NITI Ayog Vice Chairman Rajiv Kumar, in an interview to the PTI, said that subsidy should be applicable for all fuels that are used for cooking. At present, the government extends a subsidy to users of liquefied petroleum gas or the LPG. Now, this comes against the backdrop of apprehensions in certain quarters that a subsidy only for LPG users is inhibiting the adoption of clean and cheap fuels such as biofuels in rural areas and PNG in urban areas. The changes pertaining to cooking subsidy are likely to be incorporated in the draft National Energy Policy 2030. The draft was made public last year. After interministerial consultations, the policy would be taken up by the cabinet. And the government has constituted a 10-member committee to review the penal provisions under the Companies Law and examine decriminalization of certain offences. The high-level panel, chaired by the Corporate Affairs Secretary, would submit its report in 30 days to the government. Noted banker Uday Kotak and former Lok Sabha Secretary General T.K. Vishwanathan are among the members. The Corporate Affairs Ministry has set up the panel for review of the penal provisions in the Companies Act 2013. This would also allow the trial courts to pay more attention to offences of serious nature. Now, according to the ministry, it has been decided that the existing compoundable offences in the Act, that is, offences punishable with the fine only or punishable with the fine or imprisonment or both, may be examined. And the National Commission for the Protection of Child Rights has a recommended slew of measures like use of artificial intelligence and digital technology for the regulation of school fee. The recommendation comes amid rising complaints of inappropriate fee hike against private and unaided schools. The NCPCR also suggested that the states should form a committee in every district for such regulation. The committees would be headed by district collector or district magistrate as chairperson, and the fee should be determined for each school. The panel also recommended a 10% yearly cap on the increase of fee. It also suggested formulation of a parent-teacher association who would participate in the fee determination of schools. The NCPCR has sent its recommendations to the HRD Ministry. And a high-level meeting will be held under the chairmanship of Union Minister Nitin Gadkari today in order to take preventive measure for the conservation of Taj Mahal. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Union Minister of State for Culture Mahesh Sharma, along with several officers from the Archaeological Survey of India are likely to be present in this meeting. The move comes after the Supreme Court targeted the centre and the Uttar Pradesh government over the issue of protecting one of the world's 7 wonders. News from Jammu and Kashmir now, where 7 people were killed and over 26 others were injured in a landslide in Riyasi district on Sunday. According to the police, the landslide occurred in a pool below the waterfall in Talwara area of the mountainous districts where tourists were taking a bath. While authorities earlier confirmed 5 deaths in the incident, sources said that the toll has risen to 7. Other 25 have been injured in this incident. Police, army and local people launched a rescue and relief operation. In Breakfast News, time for a very short break here. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
The prolific British poet and story writer Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the first masters of short stories in English. In 1894 appeared his Jungle Book, which became a children's classic all over the world. Kim, the story of Kimball O'Hara and his adventures in the Himalayas, is perhaps his most felicitous work published. Set in and concerned with India he had come to know and love so well. In 1907, Kipling became the first English language writer to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Welcome back after the break. Now, India has signed a revised travel agreement with Bangladesh for ease visa restrictions for citizens from the neighbouring country. The agreement was signed between the two countries in Dhaka in the presence of Home Minister Rajnath Singh and his Bangladeshi counterpart Asaduzzaman Khan. Now, under the revised travel agreement 2018, freedom fighters and elderly Bangladeshi nationals will get a 5-year multiple visa from India. Both the leaders also held the 6th Home Minister level talks between India and Bangladesh. And during the meeting, all security-related matters of interest, including counter-terrorism, capacity building and increased cooperation between the security agencies, border management, countering illegal activities like fake currency, drug and human trafficking, consular issues, etc. were discussed. Both the sides reiterated their commitment to further strengthen the bilateral relations on the basis of friendship, trust and understanding for the mutual benefit of the people of India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh also reassured India that it will not allow its soil to be used for any terrorist activities against the neighboring country. Let's get to some international news now. US President Donald Trump is due to hold his first summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki, Finland on Monday. Donald Trump landed in Helsinki on Sunday, where he was greeted by the US ambassador to Finland on the tarmac of the airport. And after their scheduled one-to-one private talks, which are expected to last for about half an hour, the two leaders will then be joined by government officials for an expanded summit before taking questions from US and Russian media in a joint press conference. The talks are likely to include the issue of arms control, US sanctions on companies and individuals over Russia's annexation of Crimea, US's military aid to Ukraine, and situation in Syria, where US and Russia are on opposing sides. This will be Donald Trump's third stop in his current tour of Europe, during which he had a controversial and combative stint at the NATO and the UK. Helsinki has been a prominent meeting spot of the US and Russia and its predecessor Soviet Union, especially in the Cold War era for its strategic location between the then West and East U. And US-Russia relationship has been in fact, it has become one of the most scrutinized in global affairs, especially because of the claims of Russian meddling in the 2016 US election, which has been denied by Moscow. News from Afghanistan, where at least 7 people were killed and 15 others were injured in an apparent suicide attack close to a government ministry in the Afghan capital, Kabul, on Sunday. The attack occurred as staff members were leaving the office in the evening rush hour, and it is the latest in a series of blasts against civilian targets in Kabul and other major Afghanistan cities. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, and it was not immediately clear why the ministry, which was attacked just over a month ago, had been targeted. Earlier on Sunday, the United Nations reported a record number of civilian deaths from the conflict in Afghanistan, with a 22% jump in casualties from suicide attacks during the first half of this year. Now, following last month's brief ceasefire over the 3-day Eid holiday, President Ashraf Ghani has repeated his offer of peace talks with the Taliban, but the Taliban insist that international troops must leave Afghanistan for talks to begin. All the action from the Football World Cup in Russia. So France won the 2018 World Cup, ending Croatia's dream of a first title on Sunday in one of the most entertaining and action-packed final for decades. 20 years after France won the first World Cup in its country's history, a youthful Les Bleus side beat Croatia 4-2 in Moscow to win the football's most prestigious prize for the second time. Croatia had started full of energy but fell behind when Mandzukic became the first man to score an own goal in a World Cup final when a Griezmann free kick skidded off his head in the 18th minute. But then Ivan Perisic leveled the score 10 minutes later. But it was then Perisic's turn to go from 0 to 0 when he flapped an arm at a corner, and after a VAR review, he was awarded a penalty. Griezmann stroked home in the 38th minute, giving France a 2-1 lead at the break. And after the half-time, quick-fire strikes by Pogba and Mbappe put France ahead 4-1. In the 69th minute, a dreadful error by French captain Hugo allowed Mandzukic to reduce the deficit, making it 4-2. And though Croatia went in search of more goals in the closing 20 minutes, France refused to fold. And France closed out the win after their defeat at the Euro final 2 years ago, sparking wild celebrations. And our foreign affairs editor Akhilesh Suman captured the moment of France's iconic win against Croatia at the French embassy in the national capital. Here is a report.
So FIFA World Cup is over. France is the winner. After 20 years, France has again captured the medal of FIFA World Cup football. And here with me is the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, Mr. Deep Verma. Sir, how do you like this?
Yeah, it's good. The enthusiasm is very nice.
So, did you enjoy this match?
Yeah, very much. Very interesting.
How do you see the Croatian team?
No, they had a very fighting spirit. And surprisingly, most of the time they had the ball in their position.
And what will you tell about the French team finally?
Of course, the French showed their supremacy and they played very, very well.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And let us go to the ambassador. You tell 3+1. You told 3+1 and now you are 4+2.
I'm very happy and very proud of the team.
Ambassador has told 3+1 and now France has won by 4+2.
Well,
Ambassador, did you believe it?
Well, you can hear behind me. Really.
I say you are one of the most fortunate ambassadors in the world for France and such a cheering crowd in India.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic evening. Fantastic.
And how will you tell about the Croatian team?
They have played very well. They have played extremely well.
Also, Ambassador,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So, Ambassador of France in India is telling he had forecasted 3+1, but now France has won by 4+2. A splendid performance by French team, but Croatians also fought very well. Croatians cheer for Croatian team and cheer for the French. Thank you so much, the football lovers all over the world, and French are the winner, but Croatians are also the winner because Croatia has shown that it can fight against all the world. They had fought very well, but cheer up France, cheer up from India. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sanjay Kumar in Delhi.
And this was the highest scoring final, and in 90 minutes of the match there was a controversial VAR decision, an own goal, a pitch invasion and record-breaking feats. In fact, Didier Deschamps etched his name in the record books by becoming the third man to win the World Cup as the player and head coach. He was thrown into the air by his players and staff after the match. And 19-year-old Mbappe also further cemented his status as the most exciting young talent in the world football with a long-range strike, which made him the second youngest player to score in a final after Pele, who scored as a 17-year-old in 1958. The Paris Saint-Germain star was named as the competition's best young player. And from the Croatian side, they had suffered the grievous setback of an own goal from Mandzukic. That was the 53rd own goal in the history of the World Cup, but nobody, however, had ever done in a final before. However, despite Croatia's defeat, team's number 10, Luka Modric, won the Golden Ball for being the player of the tournament. And among other awards, England's captain Harry Kane won the Golden Boot after finishing as the World Cup's top scorer with 6 goals. Belgium midfielder Eden Hazard was the second best player, with France forward Antonio Griezmann as third. And Belgium's Courtois was awarded the Golden Glove for being the leading goalkeeper. And President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have congratulated France on winning the FIFA World Cup. The President congratulated the determined players from France and the gallant Croatian team for a well-played final. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also took to Twitter to congratulate France. He hailed their teamwork in winning the coveted cup. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated France for an excellent match and Croatia for a spirited game. The Prime Minister also congratulated Russia for hosting a successful tournament. And here are a few glimpses of how France celebrated the victory. News from Wimbledon now. In the men's final, Serbian Novak Djokovic claimed his 13th career Grand Slam crown by defeating South African Kevin Anderson at the centre court of All England Club. World number 21 Djokovic became the lowest ranked champion since Goran Ivanisevic in 2001. Prior to this win, the champion won the Wimbledon in 2011, 2014 and 2015. Whereas the opponent, Kevin Anderson, became the first South African in the final in 97 years. The victory was Djokovic's first at the majors since he completed the career Grand Slam at Roland Garros in 2016. And in the mixed doubles final, Nicole Melisher was able to celebrate a Wimbledon triumph alongside his partner Alexander Peya as they powered past Jamie Murray and Victoria Azarenka, defeating them 7-6, 6-3. And earlier on Saturday at the All England Club, Serena Williams lost to Angelique Kerber in her pursuit of a 24th Grand Slam title. Serena's 8th Wimbledon championship was denied by the hard-hitting precision of Germany's Angelique Kerber in a match that ended 6-3, 6-3. News from the world of badminton. PV Sindhu suffered another straight game defeat in a head-to-head final against Japan's Nozomi Okuhara in the Thailand Open World Tour Super 500 badminton tournament on Sunday. The final becomes this year's third disappointment for PV Sindhu, where she had witnessed a defeat in the summit clash of the Indian Open and the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. Both the players went neck and neck in the game, where Okuhara's aggressive net play took a lead over Sindhu. And after this game, Japan's Okuhara has taken a 6-5 lead in a head-to-head win-loss record over PV Sindhu. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.